Hey YouTube, it's Grumbles, and in today's video we're going to be upgrading the Lenovo Legion 7. This video is also applicable if you have this year's 5 or 5 Pro even, pretty much. It's going to be very similar steps, very similar internals. We're going to be upgrading the RAM, the Wi-Fi card, and putting in a secondary SSD. And we'll talk more about each of these as we get to them. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you even get to this point is go into the BIOS of your Lenovo, and they have a great, Lenovo has a great feature in its BIOS where you can disable the battery. That way you don't have to unplug the battery, because anytime you're working on the laptop, it's always a good idea to unplug the battery. So the next step, which is universal, pretty much removing the bottom cover of any laptop, you're going to remove the screws. They're normally going to be Phillips head size 0, and having a good screwdriver, not like trying to do this with your free screwdriver that came with your glasses, will make the process a lot easier. And the 4 screws that go along the back, I believe it's just the 4 along the back, are longer than the front ones. But that's a pretty big difference. You won't really have any trouble mixing them up. It's all 6 along the back, actually. Okay, a lot of the times you're going to have to take one of these guitar pick looking guys the first time you open a laptop and kind of find somewhere in the edge you can fit it in and pop clips loose and feel like you're breaking it. I tried that and didn't get anywhere, and I actually found with this laptop that even the first time I did it, I was able to take this suction cup guy. You can actually see the mark from where it was last time. A little bit of spit there, you know. Get it on there nice and good. Kind of, everything's harder working around a camera. One of these days I'm going to figure out a good top-down camera setup. Hold the laptop down and pull up. And of course, this time it's gonna fight me. Alright, so next we're going to remove this little cover that's hiding the RAM. And this isn't actually the factory RAM. This is a RAM I bought to put in here and test. Next we are removing this little panel here that hides our second M.2 slot. Alright, so the new SSD we're putting in is a Samsung 980 Pro, which is, it's PCIe Gen 4. It's one of the most expensive SSDs you can buy. It's totally overkill for normal use. I only bought it just because where I am a content creator, I'm constantly moving around large files between my drives. So just kind of for ease of convenience, make that a little quicker. And when I eventually sell this laptop, I'll plan on taking this out and putting it in my new one. So we just got to remove this little screw here, which it is nice, it did include the little screw. A little bit of force, but when it's kind of springy like this, that's how you know it's in there all the way, when it wants to semi-erect itself. That little battery down there is the battery that saves your BIOS and boot settings. And so if you disconnect the computer battery and that battery and leave it disconnected, you can normally factory reset your BIOS settings just in case you ever really screw something up. Which I think it's really only MSI laptops that'll kind of give you a license to screw up with their BIOS settings. We're going to have to go through that. Alright, new SSD's in, so we're just going to put this cover back on real quick. Okay, so next is the RAM. This is 32 gigabytes of 5200 megahertz. Currently the best DDR5 RAM you can buy. Now, there's really, unless you're doing some serious multitasking, like you got like 100 GIFs going at the same time, there's no need to upgrade your RAM. Spoiler alert for the video I'm working on where I've tested this kit, and next I'll be testing this kit. You're gonna maybe see a 2% boost in performance at 1080p. I haven't actually crunched the numbers yet, but something like that. A very, very minimal boost. Spending $150 on new RAM. But the RAM is going to be, it is, however, by far one of the easiest upgrade. Although none of them are particularly difficult. And lastly, looks like we're going to have to remove this other SSD cover. Looks like it's also covering, that looks like a Wi-Fi card hiding under there. Alright, last but not least, we got the cover off here, and probably, in my opinion, definitely the hardest thing to upgrade is the Wi-Fi card. For some reason on Amazon there's like 20 different brands of the Intel AX210NGW. As far as I know, they're all identical. This one was Wise Tiger. That came with a mini screwdriver, a little screw, which is nice, I guess. If you're installing a Wi-Fi card and something that didn't have one, you'll need this screw. And for some reason, it came with a mini disc with the drivers on it. I guess in case you're back in 2008 and have a disk drive still. We're going to use the included mini screwdriver and remove this screw right here. Now these little antennas just pop off. And now the hard part is getting these to stay on here. I don't really know if it's better to try putting them on first and then installing the card, or the other way around. So let's try clipping them on and then screwing the card in. Alright. We're just going to put the card in first. Alright, I got some tweezers. We're going to try using those, see if that makes this any easier. I was definitely not meant to be a surgeon. Oh my god. Now I know I said in the review that with this specific MediaTek Wi-Fi card I hadn't had any connectivity issues, which I've had with other MediaTek cards, and you know, they're just kind of generally poor MediaTek cards. But I did run into a problem that's apparently pretty common because I was able to Google a solution to it. The driver did not work, and I had to do like a hard reboot of the laptop to get it to work. And I've just found that when I boot the laptop up, it takes the Wi-Fi kind of a long time, to a lot of times, to connect. So that's why I went ahead and spent the 20 bucks to upgrade it. Cheap upgrade, but definitely a little infuriating. Alright, now we're going to set the cover back on there. It'll kind of clip in at the back there. Alright, so we got our cover on. Now we're just going to put our screws in. We'll start with the long ones in the back here. And the only thing I'd really say about doing this is just be careful, especially with the little screws in the front. On my Legion 5 Pro, I did strip one of these screw holes out. And when you're putting anything together, it's a good idea to put the screws loose and then go back and snug them all down. So the laptop's all put back together. You can see here through the power of magic, the Wi-Fi card is working. I'm sure there's probably a driver update I could install. Now, with the actual, when you install a secondary SSD, you're gonna have to go into Control Panel, System and Security, Storage Spaces, create a storage pool, create pool. And now you're gonna have a couple different resiliency options here. I pretty much normally always just choose simple. The scenarios where you might want something with more backup or something, or honest to God, the difference between them, you're coming to the wrong guy here. I just always use simple. I'm sure if you have some sort of super important data, or this is like a corporate computer, you maybe want some sort of resiliency in the drives. Alright, so that's the video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for watching.